Hello! This video is a day late because I couldn't film yesterday, but I wanted to talk to you about the most recent One Piece episode. We don't talk about the anime that much. I don't talk about the anime that much, but I really wanted to talk about this one because it was so good. First of all, I haven't made a video on the anime since we got the new opening, so I want to talk about that for like 2 seconds because I love it. Not only because it sounds great, the last opening that we got, which was also amazing, was so upbeat and it was so exciting and fun and colorful, and this one is far more focused on Bonnie and on the journey that she's about to go on, or rather that she's already gone on, and we have all that we are about to experience in the flashback. Verbally, it starts with the line, "Beyond the heavy rain is a rainbow," which I think really reflects the pain and the suffering that we're already starting to see, but that there's hope, which again has already been established in this episode that we just watched. We kind of encompass that whole thing already of the hardships that these characters are put through, but that there is a ray of hope, that there is some future to look forward to. A couple of lines that I really like in it: "I'll vow to not back down to the shouting. I need you alone to understand." There's a lot of resilience that we have to watch these characters walk through, that we're going to be watching them walk through, and them not backing down is a big thing that especially Bonnie is going to have to experience and devote herself to. But then also the mention of the letters. "Filled with love that can't be written down in a letter." And then you actually see Kuma penning a letter as that line is dropping. Oh, it's stunning. It's a stunning look into all the pain that we're about to experience. And I also just really love it visually and tonally. Again, the last one was very upbeat, and this one feels much more nostalgic in the way in its sentiments, which I think really fits for the fact that we're going to be spending some time in a flashback and for what we're about to experience. Something that's a little bit softer and more sentimental, I think, fits the season that we're going into with the story really nicely. So I love the opening so much. And then as far as the content of the chapter, oh my goodness, or I'm sorry, the episode. Such a good episode. I thought it was the perfect example of the one episode per chapter format done so well, because there's so much packed into this chapter, chapter 1095. There's so much packed into this, just little flashes of Kuma's past that to give the anime the room to elaborate on it just a little bit, just a little bit here and there without overdoing it. We don't have to rely on long pauses or repeated phrases. We can rely on taking what in the manga it gave to us in brief flashes of memory. In the anime, it's allowed to expand on it a little bit, which allows the anime to be its own separate expression of the story that brings a unique value. Whereas both are excellent. I think both ways of showing the story are a beautiful way of showing the story, but it allows the adaptation to be loyal while providing something new that adds to the story. So skipping past the present timeline stuff, because of course I really want to get into the past timeline, over just one over 2 pages, we have most of this flashback that the anime was able to let breathe and draw out a little bit more. We got to see Kuma's parents happy to have him and welcoming him into the world and grateful that he's here, that he's a part of their lives, as well as him being ripped away, them being shackled. I thought that the elongated scene of Kuma playing with his shackles as this innocent child while his mom comforts him and his dad is in the background beaten and bloody was especially excellent. But also in the anime, it showed the mom and the dad being led away from Kuma, and then Kuma being led away as well, and mom and dad both comforting him and telling him it's all going to be okay, it's going to be great, as and then he's led away too, and the hope that they're trying to instill in him while they themselves can't protect him. I thought that that was a great addition as well, because I don't think I fully processed reading the manga that they were apart from Kuma for significant periods of time, that they actually weren't an active part of his life. Of course, Dad does ask him, how's it going? Like, how are you doing? And he says, hey Dad, my master is so kind and gentle. I'm very lucky, which we see in the manga is a lie, of course, because we've just watched him go through all these trials and be showcased as a buccaneer and, you know, be whipped and beaten and threatened. So that's clear, but I don't think I fully understood how much time they had separate and how little his parents actually could check in on him. And so those little check-ins, why he would feel it's so important to make up a lie, kind of like they did. It's going to be okay. And then it wasn't. And then they ask, how are you doing? I'm okay. And he's not. None of them are. Something that the anime added, or at least the English subtitles said differently, was the parents saying, he's such a cheerful boy, which in the manga it says he's such a healthy boy. I don't know what the scan said. I'm looking at Viz. But them saying he's such a cheerful boy really struck me because, one, we've seen our understanding of Kuma up to this point has been this robotic, emotions cleared, non-emotive tool. And so for them to acknowledge verbally he's such a cheerful boy, and then we watch him be a cheerful boy as a child, you know, playing with his shackles or believing his parents when they say that it's going to be okay, and then we also slowly watch that joy be stripped of him because of the humans around him, not because of science, not because of machinery, not because of some sort of code that they've established in his mind to strip him of his emotions and to make him just this robotic soldier, right? We watched him lose that joy because of the cruelty of mankind before the cruelty that science was used for. I thought that was really effective. I also loved the visuals around when his dad has to tell him that his mom has passed away, because it was so bright. It's almost like a memory that was so significant and so burned into his mind that the rest of reality faded, and it's just this blinding, searing memory that's isolated more so among the rest. I loved seeing, before we went into Kuma's flashback, seeing Bonnie's flashback, which I want to note that the art style that they used of Bonnie as a child speaking with Kuma as a dad was more crayon style, and that it's really similar to one of T-Scene's art pieces that she used to depict Kuma and his time with Bonnie as a young child. I just love that she had that vision and that the animators at Toei had a similar vision to her. At least it looks similar to me. I don't know. Maybe you don't think so, but I personally love it. But Kuma showing Bonnie the Nika dance at the very beginning of all of this, it was such a beautiful scene, but then going straight into the flashback where we watch all of this that we've just talked about, and then Kuma's dad telling him about the hope that they have. Yes, life is terrible right now. Yes, I understand why you think it would be better if you died too, but it's not, because we do have a hope that we look toward. And then he stands up and he shows him the Nika dance, and it's lovely to see that hope passed on, but to then see, which we saw this in the manga too, to then see his dad be shot as Kuma's watching him do the dance and make the sound of the drums. It made it that much more stark to me this time around that Kuma watched, he learned about the dance in this tragic, horrifying way, yet he still somehow had the resilience and the faith to pass that on to Bonnie too. Like, you would think that there would be so much trauma and anger tied up in this memory, but somehow he still passed that dance on joyfully to Bonnie for her to look towards as well, when everything in her circumstance was dire in its own way. Another thing that I really liked, that was just a small elaboration, just a small extension that the anime did, was the introduction of St. Garling on God Valley, which the manga did something very similar. It showed St. Garling coming up very Did I get his name right? I'm questioning myself. Yeah, St. Figurlin Garling. I'm fine. He came up very quietly on the king that was objecting to being, you know, being manhunted. And he came up kind of from the background and then cut him. But again, you know, there's so much packed into this chapter that just elaborating on it a little bit, just extending it a little bit, having him come in from the shadows and then the cut happens and then you reveal him. It was just very dynamic in the adaptation. And just the same, Iva and Ginny's introductions, they got to add to the dialogue just a touch. Do you want to die or do you want to live? I choose life. What about you guys? And these are the ones that bring hope. These are the ones that preserve Kuma's life, that help him to live on. And they're the ones that will, well, we'll see in the next episodes. Again, Kuma's voice actor as a child is brilliant. I remember so many episodes ago when we got that brief flash in the memory bubble when Bonnie saw him being beaten and crying out for help and how effective the voice acting was in that scene. And now we're seeing that scene extended and still I'm just amazed at how effective the voice actor that they chose for young Kuma is in a scene like that, because it's terrible. I mean, it's absolutely terrifying after everything that this child has been through for him now to try to escape what is certainly death, that he would be beaten and dragged back into it for sport, for the fun of it. You're gonna die regardless, but we're gonna make sure that you die in a way that's fun for the people that hold fate in your hand. And now we will watch, as the episodes continue to unfold, how he continues to directly defy that fate. Look into the face of his oppressors and say no more. Ah, love it. The new ED, I think it's called, the ending song as well. I love it so much. So focused around Bonnie and her journey to find Kuma again. I love it lyrically and tonally, musically. I think it's stunning. A couple of lines that really stand out to me. It's my fault that the voice is fading away. I don't even have time to look down. It's my fault that the voice is fading away. Of course, this harkens to a future event with Bonnie where she begins to lose the faith. And, or at least that's what I think of with that line. And it's just that hope. Don't be afraid. I'm not that same person that I was that day. No one can stand in my way. Now move aside. You know, it's, as we're watching Bonnie's journey to try to find her dad again, these lines being sung is just, it's stunning. I think it's visually a gorgeous ending. I love it. Anyway, it was a really good episode. I'm obviously not gonna talk about every single episode as we go on through the flashback, I don't think. But the ones that I really, really love, I might pop in, you know, and talk about here and there, or just wait until the flashback is totally done and come back and talk about the whole thing. But I love this episode, so okay, I'm done talking now. I would love to hear you talk about it though. What do you love about it? What did you enjoy about the episode? I really don't think I have a single complaint. I loved everything about it. But was there anything that I didn't talk about that you especially loved? Is there anything you want to add? I would love to continue chatting with you in the comments. I will see you again soon. Bye.